Hello everyone, in this session we are gonna talk about terminals. If you are familiar with computers, then you might have heard some terms like console, shell, command line, terminal, even though we are using different words, but the basic meaning of all these words is same. So terminal is, you can say, a interface in which we write some text and we'll get some text as output. And in this whole session what we are going to do is that we will understand what is terminal, why we use terminal, how we can use terminal, and using the concepts of terminal, how we can make our development journey faster and smoother. We are gonna see all these things, and before we move forward, I want to tell you one thing, that in this session we are not gonna talk about how we can memorize entire, we have different command lines, and we're not going to talk about how we can memorize entire command lines and all this sort of things. We're not going to talk about that. What we are going to do is uh, we will focus on some concepts, some command lines which are really important in the process of development. In future, in 1-2 sessions, in next chapter or after the chapter, after studying GitHub, we will go into Node.js. We will go into backend. And when we study backend now, it is really important to understand or to have at least the basic knowledge of terminal or command lines. So whatever the important things which are there in the process of development, we are gonna talk about that. Okay. So let us begin with our first concept, or you can say formal definition of terminal is terminal is a text input and output environment, and terminal looks something like this. This is the terminal which you will get in Windows, and in Mac OS you have to basically search in the search bar. You can search terminal and you can get the terminal of Mac, and both interfaces are sort of different, but the working is same. So here what we will do is that we will write some text, and what terminal will do is that it will give some output. So the thing you need to remember here is, in terminal you can say is a window, or you can say a interface in which we write some text and we'll get some text out of it. Now you might ask, okay, we have understood that in this uh, the concept, or you can say the meaning of terminal is, we will have a window, and in that window, in that interface, we will write some text and we'll get some text out of it. And whatever the things we are doing in terminal, it will always be in the form of text. We don't get any image, or we won't get any, you can say, file or something like that. We won't get any of this. What we will do is that we will enter some text, and in response we will get some output, and that output is also in the form of a text. Okay, understood. So the definition of terminal is, terminal is a window in which we write some text and we'll get some text out of it. But what is the use of it, why we use that? So to understand why we use terminal, let us take example. Let's say that I will go into my files. These are my files. Now here I will go into C drive. In C drive I will go to user and data. Okay, now what I want here, you can see this is my path, my root directory, this PC, Windows C drive, user, data. This is the path I am having. Now in this path, let us say that I want to create a folder. So what I can do, I can click new, and I can here click my new folder, and I can give my terminal as my new folder name, terminal whatever, right? I'm giving some random name. Now in this folder I can create another folder, right? I can create any file or folder. Let's say I'm creating folder 1, and inside that I'm creating another folder, let's say folder 2, or you can say nested folder. I'm writing nested folder. So what I'm doing is, using mouse pointer and keyboard, I'm creating files, right? So I'm going to my file manager. Inside the file manager I'm going into Windows C, user, data, and I'm creating my folders. Okay, I can do folder creation, I can manipulate the data in my computer using mouse pointer and keyboard. But if we don't want to use that, right, then what we can do is that using terminal, within few lines, or you can say by writing few lines, we can do all these processes. We can create folders, we can delete folders, we can access the data in the computer. There is a saying that if you are a good developer, then you should know at least the basic of terminals, because terminal is really really important, and terminal gives you the entire access of the system. What I mean by entire access of the system is, for example, let's say you are using your computer generally. Now you're coming in, you are seeing the file, you can see that I'm having this PC, Realme X7, all these devices, network, D drive, downloads, all these things. Now what this will do is that you need to understand here is, you know, if we use computer generally now, then we can access files, but we cannot access the entire files in our computer. There might be some hidden files in the root directory, right, that as normal users we can never see. But if you use terminals, then you can see the entire files, you can see whatever the folders, directories are there in your computer, hidden directories as well, right, and you can manipulate them. So if you are a real developer, I can relate to this. Like, I can draw correlation between this. If you, let's say you are, you know, a little bit about app development. Now when we open Android Studio, now we run emulators, right? Now if your computer is little bit slow, then what we do is that we connect our PC with our phone, right, and in the phone we'll run our apps. And to run our apps in our phone, what we do is that we turn on our developer mode in our phone. Similarly, in computer, the developer mode is terminal, and using terminal you can do many things. You can see the hidden files, you can have the entire access of the system, which you cannot or you may not have by using generally. As a general user, there are some files which you cannot see, but using terminal you can see those entire files, those hidden files, and you can delete them, you can manipulate them. Okay, so I hope you have understood how important the concept of terminal is. Now let us go back to our PPT. So I hope you have understood, and the interface of terminal will look something like this. Here we will have a line, and this line will tell me the home directory, and MinGW is basically the, you can say, package which we have downloaded in order to run our terminal. Now this symbol represents home directory. We will talk about what is home directory, what is root directory, all these things when we go on to the interface of our terminal. But yeah, I hope you have understood what is the definition of terminal. Definition of terminal is nothing but we'll write some text and we'll get some text out of it, right? This is the definition, and why we use it: to access, or you can say manipulate, entire system files, entire system directories without actually going into them, right? These are the usage of terminal. Now why we are studying is, in future we will install some npm packages, right, Node.js packages and all this, and we do all this packages installation using terminal. That is why it is really important to have a little bit knowledge on how terminal works. Okay, now if you are new and you don't know how you can run terminal in your computer, then you can search terminal, and in Mac OS you will directly get terminal. But for Windows user, if you are using a Windows computer, then you need to install a software called as Git Bash. I will show you how we can install it in few minutes, no need to worry at all. But before we go into the installation process, I want to show you some terminologies, right? So it is important to understand terminologies because you might get asked in the interviews. So the terminologies are: first one, command line, terminal, console, shell, and in shell we have two types, bash and Z shell. So to understand this, let us take example. Let us take a simple example such that we can understand what are these terms. Instead of reading the definition, I will give you a perfect example. Let's say I have ATM. I am going on a ATM. Now ATM is a hardware device. ATM is a hardware device, and you can draw like the overlay, the interface, or you can say the structure of ATM is nothing but your console, right? Or console and terminal are basically same. Terminal is the hardware of our whole prompt, or you can say interface. ATM, if you consider ATM as a terminal, then inside the ATM we will have some input. Whenever we go to ATM we enter some numbers, right? Whatever the input we give, right, whatever the input and output we get in the ATM, that thing is known as command line. When we enter some numbers, some internal process will happen within that ATM. Some internal process will happen, and that process will happen based on the program. Whatever the program is there in the ATM, based on the program we will perform some operations and will get some output. So that program is nothing but Z shell, not Z shell. And in shell we have two types. Shell is the program, internal program of our terminal. Okay, it is the internal program of our terminal, and inside shell we have mainly two types of programs. First one is bash, and we are gonna use bash because I am using I'm using Windows terminal, Windows system, and Z shell is the default one, right? If you are using Mac, then you will get Z shell default in it, right? But we are Windows user, we have to install git bash in order to run terminal in our computer. So I hope you have understood the terminologies. Terminal, console are the hardware, and whatever the things we are typing in the ATM, that input line is known as command line. And by writing the input line, when we click enter, we will inside the ATM machine we will perform some operations. The ATM will perform some operations. That operations can be performed through a software, and that software is shell. And we have two types of shells. First one is bash, second one is Z shell. And these two, bash and Z shell, are very similar to one another. There is almost negligible difference between these two. They are very minor differences, but that doesn't matter much, so we are not going to focus on that. But those two programs are same. And if you are using MacBook, then you will get Z shell default, you don't need to install anything. But we are Windows users, so we have to install git bash in our computer. So let me show you. Before we go into the concepts, I want to show you how we can install git bash. So I will open Chrome, and in Chrome what I'm gonna do is that I will search git bash. So git bash, and you can see I got the website of git bash. Click on it. Now if you are a Windows user, then click on Windows. If you are using Mac, then click on Mac. If Linux, then click on Linux. So I'm using Windows, so I will click on Windows, and here you can see click here to download. So I'm using 64-bit computer. I will click on it here directly. But if you are using a 32-bit computer, then you have to click on this link. So I will click on 64-bit computer, and you can see my download has started. But I already have git bash in my computer installed. You can see I have git bash, but I will show you anyways. I will show you how the installation will work. After the download completed, click on it, and you will see git for Windows. Click yes, and you will get all the option like install and whatever the installation will happen like this. After this, it will ask you some requirements. All you have to do is that select yes. I'm stopping the installation because I already have git bash in my computer. Now what I'm gonna do is that I will open my git bash. You can see I'm having git bash. Now open this thing, and whatever the things we are getting now, you can see this is my git bash, and this you can see you can call it as this is my terminal. And in this we are gonna write all our commands. Whatever the input we are gonna write it, right? So whatever the input we are gonna give here in this terminal, we are gonna give all the input. So what we are gonna do is that we will study in detail step by step about each and every command line. So the first command line we are having is basic command lines. ls will give you the list of files, and pwd will give you the current directory, and clear will clear the screen. If I talk now, then you will understand nothing. So I will go into my git bash. Now in my git bash, you can see that I am having a tilt symbol. Tilt symbol represents the home directory. Home directory is nothing but the location in which you have downloaded your git bash. Let's say I have downloaded my git bash in the D drive. In my file manager, I'm having different, right? You can see that in C drive, in D drive, I'm having two main drives. In which drive and in which folder I have downloaded my git bash, That thing is represented by my tilt symbol, or you can say tilt symbol is nothing but my home directory, and home directory is the place where I have downloaded my git bash. Okay, got it. Now, what is the meaning of pwd? We have different commands, and the very first command is pwd. What pwd will do is that it will give you the, you can say, location of the current directory, current position, and which position you are in right now. That position will be given by pwd. Okay, so what pwd will do is that right now I'm in my home directory. Right now I'm in my home directory, and wherever the location my home directory is, whatever the location of my home directory is, I will give pwd will give you the location of your current directory, of your current folder. Okay, now ls, you can see that here in my C drive, in users daja, I'm having all these files. I'm having Android, let me zoom it. So yeah, you can see I'm having Android, Cache, .NET, Gradle, SSH, all these things, and this is my current directory, right? This is my current directory, and this is where I have downloaded my git bash. Now, what ls command will do is that it will give me the entire information about that directory. How many folders are there inside the folders, what is the information, all these things, all the information about the directory will be given by ls. So when I type ls now, you can see I will get the entire information about the directory in that particular location. What are the folders I am having, all that information is given by ls command. And you can see I'm having 3D, app data, contacts, downloads, local, music, all these things, right? So pwd will give me the current location of my directory, and ls will give me in that directory what are the folders I'm having. You can see I'm having you can say gallery, downloads, all these things, inside this dja. And you can see I'm having all these things, right? Let me, yeah, you can see I'm having downloads, favorite, OneDrive, gallery, videos, all these things, and I'm having some modules. So all the information about this folder, about this directory is given by my ls command. Now I'm having pwd, I have understood pwd and ls. Now I want to clear my screen. I can do that by just typing clear. What clear will do is that it will erase out the entire screen. Now the next commands, we are having a navigation command. Okay, so let's say that this is my current directory, right? This is my current directory. This is where I have installed my git bash. So what cd will do is that, let's say this is my current directory, this is where I have downloaded my git bash. Now if I click pwd, then you can see that my current location is C drive, users, daja. Now in daja, how many files I'm having? You can see I'm having Android, Cache, .NET, this, that, all these different folders I'm having. Now cd command is used to enter into a particular folder. For example, let's say that this is my desktop folder. I want to enter into desktop. Then what I can do is that I will give cd and I will write whatever the directory name is there. For example, if I want to go into desktop, then I will write desktop. And what this will do is that you can see my current path has changed. The current path is home directory, tilt symbol is nothing but home directory, right, slash desktop, right? So if I print pwd now, then you can see that my current path is C drive, user, daja, desktop. So cd command is used to enter into a particular directory. Okay, got it. Now I can also go into my directory. Here you can see in desktop I'm having express dir and ihdir. Let me draw a comparison. I will show you side by side. So here inside daja I'm having desktop, and when I go inside desktop now I'm having two more folders. Let's say I want to go into express dir folder. So I will write cd and I will give the directory name. The directory name is express dir. So I will write express dir, and I need to make sure that if a letter is in capital, then I have to give that letter is in capital, because otherwise my command will never understand what I'm writing and it will throw a error. So here you can see, right now you can see my current path is home directory, desktop, express dir. Like this I can go into the directories, I can change my directories using cd command. Now inside the express I am having node modules. So here if I want to go inside the node modules, let's say, so I will write cd node and I will write modules. Okay, now you can see I am in desktop, express dir, node modules. Now inside node modules I am having all the modules. So here if I print ls now, then it will give me the entire information of the modules. What are the modules I'm having some aspects, all these folders. So I hope you have understood what is cd command, ls command, pwd. And let's say that I will clear the screen for now. So I will clear. Now what I want is, I want to come out of this node module. Right now I'm in desktop, express, node modules. Now I want to come back one step. So to come back one step, we write cd dot dot. So what this will do is that, let's say I'm in current directory, right? I'm in this directory. Now I want to go the parent of this directory. Here you can see, I will write it here. So C drive is my parent directory, and in C drive I am having user daja and okay, and inside daja desktop after it express dir, right? So this is the flow I am having. Now if I want to come back one step, then I will write cd space dot dot. What this will do is that it will come to its parent directory, and when I give again cd, it will come back like this. I will come back, and if I here in the place of c, if I give cd dot dot now, then it will come back to my root directory of the system. So here what I will do is that I will write cd dot dot, and you can see the current location. If I print current location, the current location is c users daja desktop and express. Now if I give again cd dot dot, then you can see I will print pwd. Now you can see I have come back one step back. So if I want to go to my parent folder, if I want to go to my root directory, or you can say parent directory, then I can use cd dot dot. If I want to go inside one step, then I will write cd. Right? Okay, understood. But Jabir, what will happen? For example, let's say that I'm in my desktop, right? I'm in my desktop folder. Now in the desktop I'm having these two folders, express dir, ih classification. Now what will happen if I give a directory which is not there? For example, you can see that in desktop I'm having two folders, two directories, express dir, ih classification. Now if I give here cd and I will give some random folder is not there, or you can say some folder something, I am giving some random name which is not there inside my folder. Then what will happen is it will give me an error. It shows that cd folder not found, or you can say no such directory inside that folder. It will give me a error. I hope you have understood what is ls, pwd, clear, cd and cd dot dot. Now if I keep giving cd dot dot, then what will happen is that you can see I have came to cd dot dot, and finally cd dot dot. So I will get this symbol. From tilted symbol I am going to my this backslash symbol. So what backslash represents is, backslash represents the root directory of the computer, and tilted symbol represents my home directory, the place where I have installed my git bash is represented by tilted symbol, but the entire symbol, or you can say the root of my computer, is represented by slash. Okay, and here to understand in a better way, here tilted symbol represents the home directory, the place where I have installed my git bash, right? This is my directory. This is my directory where I have installed my git bash, and we call this directory as home directory. Okay, now root directory is the parent of everything, parent location of everything. You can consider it as in slash. In computer, in my PC, we are having drives, right? In my PC we are having different drives, C drive, D drive, after that USB port, something like this I am having. So all the information is stored in the root directory, and root directory is represented by slash root. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is the difference between slash, which is nothing but my root directory, and home directory. Now talking about cd, changing directory, there are two types of paths, right? There are two types of paths. First one is relative path, second one is absolute path. Let us understand what is the meaning of relative path and absolute path. For example, let's say that this is my folder, right? This is my C drive user data. This is my home directory. I will close my git bash and I will come back to my home directory. I will open git bash again, and you can see I am having my git bash here and my home directory. Now let's say I want to go into let's say music. In music I'm having VS Code something, so I will write cd, and here let me zoom it. Okay, cd, and I will write music. Now you can see I'm in my music directory. So in my music directory I'm having VS Code, Annie, Flash, balance system, parallel processing, road repair, something like this I'm having. Okay, this many like files and folders I'm having. Now I want to go into cd and Annie, right? So you can see I have came into music and Annie, and inside the Annie I'm having some VS Code, inside index.html and index.js, and inside .vs Code I'm having some file like setting, something like this. So if I want to go into VS Code also, then I will write cs.vs code. I will give the folder name. Now you can see I'm in my home directory slash music slash Annie slash VS Code. Okay, got it. We have understood how we can go inside my folders. Now what I want is I want to go into a folder which is outside. For example, in my home directory there is desktop. Okay, now I want to access that. Now I want to access that folder, but I'm in my music directory, right? I'm in my music directory. So if I write here cd desktop, then it will give me an error. What it will give me? It will give me desktop, no such file directory, because this, whatever the path we are giving, right, whatever the paths we are giving in the form of relative path. We call this path as relative path. What is the meaning of relative path is, for example, let's say I'm in my desktop. So with respect to desktop, there are only two folders. There are only two folders in the computer, right? With respect to my desktop, there are only two folders, and those folders are express dir and IH classification, right? So I will come back and let me show you cd dot dot and cd dot dot cd dot dot. So I will come back. Now this is my home directory. I will go into desktop. So I will write desktop. Now you can see I'm in my desktop. If I print ls now, then with respect to my directory, desktop directory, they are only two files, and if I give cd and some file name, it will go inside that. It will only check with respect to me how many files I am having, and it only, you can say, consider those, right? So this is the meaning of relative path. But you know, in my old computer I'm having some path called as desktop, I'm having a folder called as music, but it is not saying this, because with respect to that directory there is no directory called as music, there is no directory called as desktop. For example, if I am in my desktop, you can see with respect to my desktop there are only two directories, express dir, IH classification. Now if I give cd music, it will give me There is no directory called as music, because with respect to, in reference of my desktop, there is no such directory as music. But if I give the exact path, for example, I will write clear, and instead of giving a relative URL, I will give the entire URL. Okay, to give absolute path, what we have to do is that we have to write, let me paste it here, we have to give this path cd, and whatever the exact path we are having, we have to give this the entire path here. And when you click enter now, wherever you are, it doesn't matter, it will directly come to that particular directory, to that particular folder. I hope you have understood what is the difference between my relative path and my absolute path. Absolute path will always work no matter where you are, but relative path will only work, will only check, or whatever the operations it has to do, it will only do with respect to that folder. Here desktop will only understand that okay, inside me there are only two folders in my entire computer. It understands in that manner. Now the next commands we are having is make directory, making directory. Let's say I want to create a folder with my terminal, then I can do that using my mkdir command. Let's say I will come back, first of all I will come back. Now I will go into my desktop folder, so I will go into desktop. Now inside the desktop I am having two directories, express dir and ih classification. Now if I want to create a directory, then I will give mk, here I will write mk dir, and I will give my directory name. For example, Jabir is my directory name. Then you can see I will have a folder called as Jabir. Now inside Jabir, if I want to create something, for example cd, I will go into Jabir. Now inside Jabir, if I want to create some new directory, a new folder, then I can give, let's say, terminal command. Terminal command is my directory name, so I will give here. Now you can see inside this, inside Jabir, I am having terminal command. Like this, using terminal we can create our own folders. But it is really important to understand the path in which place you are creating your directory. Let's say you are creating your directory in C drive, but you are checking in D drive, then you will not find it, right? So it is really important to understand the location where you are creating, and by understanding the location you can easily see that my directory is being created. Now the next command we are having is flags. Flags are the additional information. For example, if I print, I will come back here. First of all, I will come back cd and cd. Okay, I will come back to my root. I will come back to my home directory. Okay, now in my home directory there are different folders. I will print the different folders. I will write ls. Now this many folders I am having in my folder, right? And ls command, each command will have a additional property with it, call it as a flag, and this flag will give you a particular thing. For example, let's say that you want to check the modification time of each folder, then we will use ls command, and along with ls we will give you a new argument. We will write a new argument, and that argument is known as a flag. So here we will write how many, we can check here. I will write clear, and we can check for each and every command, right? For each and every command there are some flag values associated with it. Now if you want to study what is this command or how we can use this command, then there is a like line called as help, and using help we can understand the behavior of each command. So let's say I want to understand the behavior of ls command, then I will write ls and I will write dot dot help. Now what this will do is that it will give me the entire information. Okay, underscore u, do not sort any least element. Now if I write here underscore r, then it will list all the directories, it will list all the records. Like this we will get the flag values. Okay, got it. Now here we have some main flag values like ls, l, lsa, la, something like this. So let me see how this will work. So first of all I will clear my screen. Now I will write ls l. Now what this will do is that along with the directories it will give me the modified time, in which time I have modified this folders. Okay, so ls is the command line, and this thing is known as a flag value, and L will give me the modified time of my directory. Now if I write ls a, it will just give me the directories, that's all. Now if I write ls la, then along with the modified time it will give me the path and the folder names. Like this we use different values. Now let's say you are very new to terminal, you don't know anything about terminal, then there is a command called as help, and using help command you can understand each and every command. I said you that we are not gonna talk about entire command lines because there are hundreds of command lines we are having and we cannot remember them, all of them. But if you want to see the working of each command, then you can just write help, and help will give you the entire information about your terminal. We have understood what are flags. Now the next is how we can create. We have understood how we can create a directory, but how we can create a file? So to create a file we use touch command. So here let me clear the screen. First of all I will clear my screen and I will go into my desktop folder. So I will go into my desktop folder. Okay, now what I will do is that I will delete this directory first. Okay, I will delete the Java directory. Now let's say I will, first of all I will go to my desktop. So I'm in my desktop right now, and I want to create a Java file. Then I will write touch and I will write the file name. Let's say my file name is index, and along with the index, along with the file name, I have to give the extension. If I want to create a Java file, then I have to give .java. Now you can see I got my Java file here, right? I got my Java file here. Now if I want to create some other file, then I will write touch index. If I want to create a txt file, then I will write .txt. Now you can see I got a txt file. Similarly, if I want to create a dart file or python file, I can do that, like js touch touch index dot. Like this you can create your files in any manner. And one more thing is that what touch command will do is that it will modify the used time. For example, let's say that I have created this folder, or you can say this file, in 2022. Now I want to modify the usage time. I want to modify this usage time to today's date. Today's date is 11/1/2025. I want to modify that. Then what I can do is that I will write touch. Here I will write touch touch, and I will write index .java. What this will do is that it will modify. Okay, you have used this file today, so the usage the date modification of that file will get updated. Okay, I hope you have understood. Touch command will do two works. If there is no file, then it will create the file. If there is a file, then it will update the usage time, right? It will tell me, okay, today you have used this file. For example, let's say I have created this Dart file 2 years back. Now I want to update the usage time of this particular file. Then I can do that by writing touch command. Now the last command we are having is deleting file. We have understood how we can go into directories, how we can come out of directories, and basic ls command, help command, pwd command, and absolute, what is absolute path, relative path, and making directories, flags, touch command. We have understood all these things. Now let's say I have created a file, I want to delete that file. Then what command I have to use? I have to use rm, that's all, right? So here let's say I want to delete, this is my Java file, right? Now I want to delete my Java file. Then I will write rm. Here I will write, first of all let me clear. Okay, now I will write rm and I will give index.java. Now you can see when I give index.java, automatically the Java file got deleted. But remember one thing here, that rm, or you can say removing commands, are very sensitive. What is the meaning of sensitive is, for example, let's say I'm deleting this folder, I'm deleting the dot folder. Now I can anytime go to my recycle bin and I can like extract this thing. Like here, I can come here and you can see I'm having my dart folder and I can restore it anytime. But when I delete something through my terminal, then I cannot restore it. That is the thing you need to remember, that if you delete something through your terminal, then you can not revert it, you cannot restore it. That is why you should be always careful and keep in mind that whenever you are using rm command or removal command in your terminal, then keep your eyes open. Right, for example, let us imagine a scenario that you have built a project, you have put in your 1 month time into a project and it has 250 files. Your folder has 250 files, but by mistakenly you were tired that day and you have used rm and deleted all the files. Just imagine the headache you will have. That is why my recommendation, my suggestion is never use rm commands. You can use other commands, you can use any command in terminal, but never ever use delete commands in terminal, because those are very sensitive. It will delete the information, entire information from the computer. Okay, I hope you have understood, right? And if I want to delete a folder, let's say, then I have to use rmdir. And what rmdir will do is that it will delete empty folders. If I want to delete a folder which has some information in it, then I will write rm and I will pass a flag value rf, and I will give the folder name, whatever the folder name I am having, I will give that. Like this, we use removal commands. I hope you have understood. This is about our terminal, and I know this is a little bit fast because I have made this fast because terminal is a very simple concept, and we are going to use the concept of terminal in the next session. In the next session we will talk about Git and GitHub, and the next session is going to be really interesting one. So with that being said, I hope you have understood terminal, and I will provide you a link, a documentation link. By reading that, you will understand how terminal works in a very simple manner. So with that being said, I will see you in the next one.